Now at noon, jury selection continues in the trial of a man accused of killing a Hot Springs police officer. We have a crew in the courtroom. What we're learning today. And can you get birth control pills in the U.S. without a prescription? Our National Verify team has the answer to the trending question. The trial against former Trump advisor Steve Bannon heads into day 2 at 12:06. New details on the contempt of Congress court case and the latest on the House committee investigating the January 6th attack on the Capitol. From Dickie Stevens to the home run derby, a former Arkansas traveler crushing it in L.A. We've got the replay of Julio Rodriguez's major moment a little later. But first, we have to keep talking about this heat. Meteorologist Nathan Scott, you are here with us. We're going to be seeing some triple-digit temps this week, aren't we?
Good afternoon, Mackailyn. Yeah, the heat's going to be the story over the next several days. This afternoon, we got an excessive heat warning in effect for most of Arkansas, all the counties in the magenta, and that includes most of the THV 11 viewing area with the exception in the Ozarks. You're under a heat advisory, but that means that the heat indices, or what it's going to feel like out there, will be 110 to as high as 115. Temperatures right now, we're off to the races. 100 is the current temperature in Fort Smith. 97 in Mena, 97 in DeQueen. It's 93 here in the capital city and 95 in Conway. Also, you step outside and it's humid. Those dew points into the 70s at some tropical air in place. I think these numbers will drop down somewhat going into the afternoon hours, but your feels like numbers already feeling like above the century mark for many spots. Max heat indices this afternoon, 110, maybe as high as 115. So you got to make sure you stay hydrated and stay cool. This is dangerous heat. The little bit of good news that I have is we got a little bit of a breeze out there. Yes, it's hot air, but at least it's something to give you a little less edge off the heat. Highs today topping out into the triple digits in most spots. I think tomorrow could even be hotter. I'll have more on that toasty forecast coming up.
Thanks, Nathan. And summer storms can cool us off, but the city of Paris and Logan County is dealing with too much of a good thing. Dozens of power lines and poles snapped in 70 to 80 mile-per-hour winds yesterday morning. Now, as of this afternoon, less than 100 customers are still without power in that area. According to Oklahoma Gas and Electric, crews are working to get things back up and running. They're hoping to have that done later this afternoon. Until then, the Paris High School has opened up as a cooling center for those who need a place to beat the heat. And on top of that, the mayor says the town's water treatment plant, which also lost power, got dangerously close to a crisis. He says it'll take a couple of days for the tanks to fill back up now that the plant has power again. Now, the dry weather and heat is causing problems for livestock in the state, and now it's forcing some ranchers to make the tough decision to sell off their cattle. THV 11's Brooke Buckner takes us to Damascus, where the cows are lining up for auction.
The owner of this auction barn tells me usually this is the slow time of year to be selling cattle, but because of the heat and drought, he has double the amount.
They're coming to town early this year because there's just nothing to feed them. A lot of folks are running out of water.
Lane Pruitt compares it to the 2012 drought.
We need a lot of rain for a lot of days.
Producers like Clint Lynn are lining up to sell their cattle since they can't cut enough hay to feed the herd.
Not only were we struck with no rain, but our early cutting of hay was disabled by high fertilizer costs. So therefore, because of the cost of fertilizer, we didn't produce the hay that we normally would. So that's really put us in a really bad position now.
Lynn says producers are in a lot of trouble, and he sees it firsthand at his feed store.
Like hay, a lot of times we'll provide hay or sell hay to our customers, and we're having to go further and further away to buy hay just to come into retail back to the smaller producers. And it's getting, as you get further away, it gets more expensive.
I've always said that we're one drought away from the cow herd in central Arkansas being gone. I just hope and pray that everybody can hold on, and if you can hold on, it's going to pay off.
In Damascus, Brooke Buckner, THV 11 News.
Now new at noon, flags are at half-staff across the state in honor of the Jonesboro police officer who died during a training over the weekend. The governor made the proclamation this morning. In a tweet, he wrote, quote, "Vincent Parks chose to dedicate his life in service to his community. I'm deeply saddened to hear of his passing as he served those around him. Susan and I are praying for his family, and I have directed the flags to be lowered in his memory," end quote. It's day 2 of jury selection in the trial of Kayvon Ward. The Garland County man is accused of shooting and killing Hot Springs police officer Brent Scrimshire. THV 11's Ian Russell is inside the courtroom this morning. Now here's what he's learned about the process. Jurors are being asked if they could or could not impose the death penalty. Ward's attorney, Bill James, says this is, quote, not about what we think, not about what we infer, but what the evidence says. He also says he wants the focus on what was going through Ward's mind that day, and that we'll hear from mental health experts during the trial. We've been told this jury selection process is expected to last several days, and we're going to have the very latest from today's hearing tonight at 5 and 6. Pine Bluff police are looking for a suspect in the death of a teenager this afternoon. Right now, police are looking for 17-year-old Cartez Davis. He's wanted for capital murder and the shooting death of a 16-year-old who police are not identifying at this time. Officers found the teen's body at a home near 5th and West Linden Streets yesterday. This is the 16th homicide in Pine Bluff this year. The trial of an Arkansas man arrested in the January 6th attack on the Capitol is being pushed back. Richard Barnett is the man photographed with his feet on House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's desk. The Gravette native pleaded not guilty to several charges related to the riot, including theft. His trial was set to begin on September 6th. It's now scheduled for December 12th due to Barnett's lawyer facing serious health issues from COVID-19. Steve Bannon, who led the political strategy that helped former President Trump get elected to the White House, is facing criminal charges because he refused to testify before Congress about what he knew about the president's plans to stay in office. Skylar Henry has more details from Capitol Hill.
Steve Bannon arrived at court as his contempt of Congress trial gets underway.
It's a fine Navy day.
Attorneys are wrapping up jury selection, going through final screenings of nearly 24 candidates. All of the potential jurors live in D.C. Some live near the Capitol itself. Many say they've never heard of the former advisor to President Trump. Others said they have watched the January 6th committee hearings, but said doing so wouldn't impact their ability to be fair. Bannon is facing contempt of Congress charges for refusing to comply with a subpoena from the committee investigating the January 6th assault on the Capitol. While he's the one facing charges, he'll likely put the committee's investigation on trial.
This nonsense, this show trial they've been putting up on Capitol Hill, it's nothing but a show trial. It's time they start having other witnesses. They can give other testimony other than what they've been putting up.
Committee investigators say they're expecting the Secret Service to turn over allegedly deleted text messages agents sent during the time of the riot.
Some of those documents are required by law to be protected.
CBS News has learned the committee plans to call former Deputy Press Secretary Sarah Matthews and former National Security Council member Matthew Pottinger to testify during Thursday's primetime hearing. They're expected to testify about what President Trump did while rioters attacked the building. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
The House Select Committee Chairman Benny Thompson announced he has tested positive for COVID, but says he wants the committee to proceed with the primetime hearing Thursday night. The House of Representatives is set to vote on a bill that would protect same-sex and interracial marriages. Lawmakers fear those rights could be overturned by the Supreme Court, which last month overturned Roe v. Wade and abortion rights, saying they're not specifically mentioned in the U.S. Constitution. Meanwhile, 2 U.S. senators will introduce a bill today that would require health insurance companies to cover the cost of over-the-counter contraceptive pills. Now, in the weeks following the overturning of Roe v. Wade, more and more people are asking if you can get birth control pills in the U.S. without a prescription. Ariane Till and the Verified team have the answers to this trending question.
Since the 1960s, millions of Americans have used hormone-based pills to prevent pregnancy, making daily contraceptive pills one of the most common forms of birth control in the country, according to the CDC. But can you get them over the counter? After the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, an increasing number of people are searching for the answer online, according to Google search data. So let's verify. Our sources are the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, and HRA Pharma. Over-the-counter daily birth control pills are not currently available in the United States. The FDA sets the effectiveness and safety standards for OTC medications and determines if a medicine requires a prescription. Daily hormone-based birth control pills have always required a prescription in the U.S., usually so healthcare providers can screen for conditions that raise the risk of rare but dangerous blood clots. So we can verify, no, an over-the-counter daily birth control pill is not currently available in the U.S. But that could change. On July 11th, pharmaceutical company HRA Pharma submitted an application to the FDA so that Opill, a daily birth control pill with a hormone called progestin, can be offered over the counter. If approved, it would become the first daily birth control pill available in the U.S. without a prescription, bringing the U.S. in line with more than 100 other countries that currently do this. What is available over the counter without a prescription is the morning after emergency contraceptive pill, also known as Plan B. Unlike other birth control pills, Plan B is a single-dose pill meant to be taken after sexual activity. With your Verify, I'm Ariante Till.
Well, you think it's hot here? Wait till you see what other states are dealing with. A closer look at the intense heat happening across the U.S. Nathan?
And with all the dry conditions, the fire danger is continuing to increase across parts of the natural state. I'll have the latest burn bans, the latest wildfire risk, and also let you know if there's any cooling showers and storms coming up in my extended forecast.